and welcome to This Day. Today is Wednesday, January 10th, and I'm Bobby Higgins. Coming up on the show today, we have the VMS Department update with Jay Allen. He is the Damage Restoration Manager, and hopefully it never happens to you, but if it does, he is here to tell us all about the damage restoration process if you have a leak. And now let's take a look at today's Stay Informed. United Mutual's next town hall meeting is coming up this Friday, January 12th at 2 p.m. in the Performing Arts Center, Clubhouse 3, Room 2. The scheduled topic will focus on their master policy and earthquake insurance and preparedness, followed by a Q&A afterwards. So check that out. And now let's take a look outside at the weather. It's still a bit cloudy out there right now, but it's going to be mostly sunny today and cool with a high of only 59 and a low of 42. This trend will continue throughout the week. Tomorrow is sunny and clear. Friday, mostly sunny, partly sunny on Saturday, and lots of sun on Sunday. But don't let the sunshine fool you, because it is definitely chilly outside, with the highs only being in the low 60s during the daytime. And as soon as that sun starts to dip in the sky late in the day, temperatures will drop down into the 40s for the evenings. And now taking a look at the sunrise and sunset. This is a sailboat photo off of the Dana Point Harbor, brought to you by Mark Rabinowitz. Great shot there. Your sunrise was at 6:56 a.m. this morning, and your sunset at 5:01 p.m. It is slowly getting later and later each day. And if you would like to have your photos featured here on This Day, please email them to us at lagunawoodsvillagetv@gmail.com, and we'd be happy to put them on the show. Stay with us. Up next, we have the VMS update, but first, let's take a look at today's meetings.
Adapt to it, we strive to make the everyday tasks easier by providing our customers with the tools they need to be successful. We carefully explain the use and care of all of our equipment. Adapt to it has been in Laguna Woods for over 20 years, and we know that nothing in life stays constant. So we can help you adapt to all the changes in your life. Adapt to it sells and rents items and always delivers with a smile. Come in today to experience what we mean when we say, when you can't change it, adapt to it.
Calling all parrot heads and land lovers to flock to the Performing Arts Center to get their tickets to Jimmy's Buffet, January 18th. The Boomers Club is thrilled to bring the #1 Jimmy Buffett band on the West Coast to Laguna Woods. Jimmy's Buffet is a wildly fun show celebrating the music and vibes of the man himself. It'll be all Hawaiian shirts and salt shakers as the band plays Buffett's hits among dancing sharks, tiki towers, and palm trees. The crowd will hear all the classics and new hits. The awesome 7-piece band features steel drums, congas, keyboards, and 4-part Caribbean harmonies. And crowd participation is the hallmark of the show. Don't miss Jimmy's Buffet.
At Renew Ketamine Infusion, Dr. Justin Yannick and Dr. Tanya Dahl are board-certified physicians with nearly a decade of experience in ketamine therapy who can help those who haven't found success with other treatments or wish to avoid daily medications. Whether you're struggling with depression, PTSD, anxiety, or chronic pain conditions, our private spa-like clinic focuses on creating the perfect setting for your ketamine treatment. Call us today to schedule your free physician consultation to determine if ketamine therapy is recommended for you.
Hi, I'm Dan McEachran. 35 years ago, I was lucky enough to get my start in Laguna Woods. First, building patio rooms, then kitchens. Our cabinets are all built locally in Irvine. It all began with patio rooms, like this Majorca model, which we made into a complete room. I'll pull permits. We'll take care of everything. Give me a call. We'll do a nice job for you.
We promise to meet you with an open heart and curious mind. To never have the answers before we've heard your story. Because you are not everyone else, and healthcare is not one size fits all. Highest performing hospital, top ranked physicians, 50 convenient locations, right here in Orange County. You, empowered by Hoag.
Welcome back to This Day. Joining me now is Jay Allen, Damage Restoration Manager with VMS. Jay, so nice to meet you. Thank you for being here. And you got here early today.
Oh,
so
I sure
sorry
did.
to make you wait so long.
Well, it's good to see you as well, Bobby.
Yeah.
So good to be here. Thanks for having me.
Absolutely. And so damage restoration, so you're dealing with when like a leak happens or things like that. What are some of the worst leaks that you've had to deal with over the years?
A lot of the ones that are the hardest, and we deal with leaks, but we also deal with fire and vehicle accident too.
Okay.
But some of the 3-story buildings, when one of the upper floors leak, it can damage a lot of manors below.
Oh, wow.
And a lot of people affected from one event. So they can get pretty long-term and pretty pricey. So.
Wow. And so if there's a leak up above, do you automatically go and check the one below? Like how, or is it usually they're going to detect it themselves?
Well, typically it gets reported from below.
Oh, that's true. Yeah.
Yeah, so they'll go from below and find their way upstairs until they find where it's actually coming from.
Right.
And take care of it up there.
That makes sense. So are there any like warning signs that a leak is going to happen?
Oh, absolutely. So a lot of leaks you can see kind of dripping or they get gradually worse. So if you can look at when something's small, you can detect it before it gets to be something big. And there's another thing, a product on the market called leak detectors. And you can put them for relatively cheap, $13 or something like that from Amazon or Home Depot, and put them in trouble areas, under your sink, behind your toilet, behind your fridge if you have an ice maker, a bunch of different places that are vulnerable to leaks so that you can see it and know about it before it affects your neighbors below.
Wow, that's so interesting. I've never heard of that before. Is it just something you like set in the cabinet or you attach it or?
No, you can kind of just set them out there, and they range from something that kind of squawks like a smoke detector or something that actually sends signals and pings to your phone. I mean, they're really neat, and all of them are relatively inexpensive.
Okay, well, good to know. But definitely check into that. Is there, being that the pipes are kind of older at this point, is there anything to be done to help prevent leaks happening?
Well, VMS and the plumbing staff, they're working all those issues as much as they can and constantly working in that direction. There's kind of a question of alterations, so a lot of the manors are highly altered at this point, which is great. They're beautiful, but also that comes with some responsibility. So if there's something that's altered in your manor, then that would be something that you would want to maintain, you would want to look at, and have professionals come and look at that for you to make sure that it's not going to leak.
So during that remodeling process of making sure, yeah.
Yeah, and after as well. So because
Okay.
now that's your thing to maintain.
Yeah, I know in my house, the house was built in like '87. It's getting to that 30-year mark and or older, and so when we redid all our cabinets and our kitchen, and I was so worried, like, what if we keep having leaks? And now we just did all this work.
Yeah.
So when a leak is detected, what is the first thing residents should do?
Call somebody.
Okay.
Call somebody immediately. Plumbing is typically going to go out first, and they'll secure that leak and then kind of move on from there. And that's what we're going to lead into here. Our vendors and our people will follow up afterwards and take care of everything for you. And that would be typically through resident services, or if it's after hours or on weekends, you'd want to let security know so that they could respond to that. And the quicker the better.
Yeah.
The quicker we can get into something, the better.
And so, okay, so first off, let's go through this process then. So first off is, need to secure the leak.
Mm-hmm. So it says secure the leak, not repair the leak, because they're a bit different. If it's something that's VMS responsibility or United/Third's responsibility, we're going to come in and actually repair that thing and get it to where it needs to be. But again, if we're into those alterations, that's something that you may be able to have us come in for as a chargeable service, but it's your thing. So you can have another plumber, another vendor, another expert, your brother, whoever, to come and fix that because it's your property. So in those cases, we would simply secure it so it's not creating any more damage, and then allow you to go in and fix it at your leisure with whoever you wanted to fix it with.
Okay. And then the next process is then to do the dry down.
Yep, so dry down is very important. That could include removals, it could include a lot of other things, but the quicker that we respond to that, the better. It's not getting any worse, it's not turning into mold or any of the other things that we don't like to talk about, but the quicker we can get there, the better. They may remove some of that material if it needs to. They may have some of those noisy fans and dehumidifiers that everybody loves.
I know, that's the worst, when the floor is all wet and everything, and then you got those fans in there for days, weeks to dry it all down.
Yeah.
And that's on a much bigger leak. This picture here showed kind of like something at the back of a closet.
Mm-hmm.
I would imagine that would maybe had been going on for a while before it was detected. Can't say I go in the back of my closet.
No, that's one that gets missed a lot. Another one is under sinks. So typically under kitchen sinks, people have a lot of chemicals or products or some other thing under there, and you may not notice that for a while either.
Yeah.
So another good reason the leak detectors come in.
My mom recently, she had a leak. It was coming from the osmosis water. Drinking thing. It was leaking underneath the sink, and she didn't know it, and she had a cough that just kept coming back again and again, and finally the doctor's like, we can't keep putting you on antibiotics. We're going to have to do something else if it keeps coming back. Come to find out, the water was creating like mold, I guess, which was causing her to cough. So so fortunately we finally got that figured out for her house.
Glad you got it
That
figured
wasn't
out.
here in the village. That was at her. She lives in Huntington Beach. But
That's good. I was starting to worry.
So after the dry down, next is testing and securing clearances.
Well, so it could be. On the first part that we were talking about, where you saw the process map that it goes through, not every part of that has to be done, and it's all dependent on the leak. So sometimes the plumber may come in, they may secure or repair the leak, and then nothing else is needed. But you could end up with all of these things happening in the middle, and it can be a lengthy process. So one of the things that I wanted to talk about with who's going to come in is we have to schedule all these things with the resident, with who's there, and the availability of the resident is very helpful if they're willing to have our contractors or vendors come in and do the work so it doesn't damage further. But for the clearance side, when they're coming in and doing that testing, that's people who are checking for mold or asbestos, again, another word that we don't like to say, but they're looking for that. That has to go back to a lab, get tested to make sure that everybody's kept safe here and not exposed to things that they don't want to be exposed to. We do additional steps if we find something there, and we essentially keep going until we make sure that things are in the conditions that they're supposed to be in.
Right. And so when does the testing come in? Like if you see, like that closet photo we were looking at, and it looked like, could that possibly be mold? Was that a situation that they would test?
Yeah.
Okay.
So if you see somewhere where mold is going to be, we're going to get that out of there. That would not be something that we could simply dry down. That's something that we would actually remove, and then you have to make sure that everything is clean and wiped down, and there's no more mold present before we build it back and before we say that it's good.
Right.
So that would be a trigger for that.
And does that take, like, how much longer does that add to the repair process if now you have to wait for testing and clearances?
Typically it's next day.
Oh, that quickly?
It
okay.
is. So they get it right away. They get it to a lab and take care of it. The initial testing sometimes, and again, all of this is dependent on what actually happens there, but the initial testing would see if something is present, then usually you take care of that thing, and then after that you get clearance to make sure that it's taken care of.
Now, is that something that only happens in water leaks? Like, does it happen for fires or other things?
It wouldn't happen for fires. Maybe the testing or clearances for asbestos at that point, if something you needed to be cut out, or if I know when fire comes out, they have to act quickly. So maybe they're kicking in something or having to cut something out. So it's not impossible, but it's not all that probable.
Now, I always just thought asbestos was like in the ceiling. Is it in the walls too, or is it mostly only if you need to cut into the ceiling?
So it's typically under flooring. There's like a thick black goo type of glue that's under there. It's called mastic, and it's typically asbestos containing. And then in the walls, not necessarily in the drywall, but in the joint compound, and definitely the popcorn ceiling that everybody I think is pretty well aware of.
Yeah.
But Asbestos was widely used for years and years and years, and people think of it as dangerous completely. It's only really dangerous if it's exposed, if it's let out when it's not supposed to be let out. Similar to, I mean, we've harnessed electricity in our houses. We've harnessed propane and natural gas and all these other things that are dangerous if not treated appropriately. And this is kind of on the same tier as that, I would say.
Okay. All right. Well, then the next step is abatement. Tell us about this.
So if we go in and we test and we find something that's there, we have to, as the picture shows, contain that area to make sure that nobody's going in there until it's safe and able to be reopened for everybody else. That may include wiping something down or cutting something out. It could also include fans and dry down equipment, but we have a special company that comes in and does abatement to make sure that those materials are removed and taken care of before, again, we go back to clearances and then make sure that they got everything.
Gotcha. And then, so then once it's all good, everything's been cleaned out, now it's time for rebuilding and restoring.
Yep. So we always make sure that, remember we said we don't necessarily repair the leak, but we secure the leak. Well, we have to make sure that the resident took care of their part as well before we rebuild, because we don't want that thing to continue leaking and then just cause damage to the thing that we just took care of.
Right.
But once we get that done, we do rebuild it back to whatever that mutual standard is and put back all the things that are supposed to be there. And you'll notice it does say that members are responsible for their personal property. They are typical to any other incident, earthquake, fire, whatever occurs there. Insurance is great for that. I mean, that's what it's for. They can take care and help you get back to what you need to be if it's, a high dollar amount or a lot is affected. But often it's not. I mean, often these are very small and none of this is needed, so.
And so personal property, that would be like the clothes that were inside the closet, or maybe furniture that got damaged, or like is that the kind of things that fall under the personal property? Well,
it definitely does. There's some other things too. The two different mutuals cover different things. So that may be your alteration flooring as well. It could be alteration cabinetry. It could be a lot of different things.
Okay.
But it makes great sense to find out what your alterations are and then kind of know what would be in that realm for your manor.
Okay. And then you have the next slide, it shows like the full restoration process. So kind of to give you an idea of, you can see the leak, damage that was done inside the closet, and then what's happening there in the during, is that where they removed things, removed the drywall?
They had to remove things. And it's a good show of this because a lot of people would go and touch that wall or say like, oh, well, I cleaned up the moisture with a towel or some other thing. Moisture is deeper than that, and mold can be more extensive than what you can see as well. So thankfully, my staff and vendors have moisture meters that, according to industry standards, can test and see if moisture's there. We have thermal cameras that can see things as well. So,
wow.
We make sure that everything's the way it's supposed to be. So yeah, in that case, they have removed some of the damaged material, and then they ended up rebuilding it in the after slide, and I think it looks pretty good.
It looks brand new. Looks nice. So what are some of the keys to have a successful process?
So I kind of touched on that a little earlier. Let us know. Call quickly. These things get worse fast, specifically with hot water. That turns into mold or other issues quicker. So,
interesting.
Yeah, let us know before it damages more property. And then the availability of our on-call services. We constantly get different vendors in and make sure that we have enough people on hand, but it takes the scheduling with the resident as well. We're not going to have some possibly non-emergency people rushing into your house when you're not home or anything like that. So during this event, we know it's a troubling time for everybody, but try to stay on top of it and work with us as much as possible, and we'll do everything that we can for the members to make sure that they get taken care of too, in as timely a manner as possible.
Oh, good. And so any other pointers for what to do or what to expect?
So the what to do, what to expect, when my coordinators go out, which is my field staff, they head out there and they bring a form with, and it's actually called what to do and what to expect. So it's great. It tells you on the top kind of how to return to normal. It talks about most of the things that I'm talking about here, who you can expect in your house and what's going to go on. There's a part about needing to vacate if the damage is so severe that it wouldn't be safe or good for you to stay in your manor. It talks about that. And it definitely talks about insurance. Insurance is a big thing. See a lot of people gamble with this, and these can be pretty expensive events. And if your alteration is the thing that caused the damage, you could be on the hook for a bit. So unfortunately, a lot of times I see the people who gamble with not having insurance, and I only see the ones that lose that battle. So insurance is a good thing to have. Nobody can force you to have insurance, but it's a good thing to have.
Yeah, definitely peace of mind, and there when you need it, if you need it.
Yeah.
So, and then lastly, the next slide, responsibility and alteration.
Yeah. So touched on that a little bit. It's the fact that some of these things may or may not come back to, we'll say, haunt you later on. But a lot of people talk about fault. Well, it wasn't my fault. I didn't see the leak under my fridge. We agree. You probably may not have seen that leak under your fridge, but it may be your responsibility if that thing's an alteration. So it's very important to know what those alterations are and know what your mutual is and know what your mutual rules are and what's covered. And staff's here to answer all of those questions, not to mention the fact that when you buy the place, it's in the resales documentation as well. It tells you all the things that you're signing for. And it's neat because they say, look at these alteration countertops and this alteration this, and they are beautiful, but I think the part that gets missed is they can be your responsibility as well.
So if it was like original cabinetry, then it's not their responsibility, then that would be the mutual's responsibility?
Depends on the mutual.
Okay.
Depends on the mutual, so.
What are the most, or do you know, like what are the most contentious ones that the owners are like, well, I thought this was covered, and you're like, no, it says in your thing that this was not covered?
It's often. There's not one particular issue that I could point to, because I hear it quite often that just people move in and they may not have done the alteration themselves, and in most cases they have not. Someone else has done that for them, and they've inherited that through the resales process. And there are forms they sign for that, and they're just unaware, and it's unfortunate that they don't know that in advance, and we try to spread awareness as much as possible to look after those things, because I know I would be super frustrated if I had something that I thought was beautiful and moved right into it, and then somebody said, oh, well, actually, this is yours. And to me, I'm hearing it for the first time, when in reality, I've signed for something that said that it was my responsibility. So read those documents.
Yeah.
And look at what you're signing.
Yeah. And it's hard because you're not, especially when you're moving in, you're not thinking, oh my gosh, what could go wrong? What's down the road? I mean, who knows?
Oh, and it's in a big stack of papers among the other
right.
several things that you have to sign and look at and read. So we understand the frustration.
Yeah. Well, thank you so much for being here today and educating us and letting us know that we need to go back through and look at what we signed.
Yeah, and thanks for having me, and we're here to help, so give us a call, let us know.
All right. Well, thank you, Jay. It's nice to meet you. Stay with us because we have this weekend's movies, announcements, and weather coming up right after this.
Calling all parrot heads and land lovers to flock to the Performing Arts Center to get their tickets to Jimmy's Buffet, January 18th. The Boomers Club is thrilled to bring the #1 Jimmy Buffett band on the West Coast to Laguna Woods. Jimmy's Buffet is a wildly fun show celebrating the music and vibes of the man himself. It'll be all Hawaiian shirts and salt shakers as the band plays Buffett's hits among dancing sharks, tiki towers, and palm trees. The crowd will hear all the classics and new hits. The awesome 7-piece band features steel drums, congas, keyboards, and 4-part Caribbean harmonies. And crowd participation is the hallmark of the show. Don't miss Jimmy's Buffet.
We all love our independence. Mobility City is your choice for all mobility equipment, repairs, service, rentals, and sales. We have rollators, wheelchairs, scooters, lift-out chairs, hospital beds, and more. We repair all mobility equipment in or out of warranty. Battery replacement, too. And we'll come to you. Plus, we offer short and long-term rentals. Mobility City's personalized service is our specialty.
These guys are lifesavers.
So call or stop by our showroom today. Open Saturdays.
The Salvation Army Orange County is proud to be a leader in providing comprehensive care to families, men, women, young adults, seniors, and veterans in Orange County. Our shelters provide food, clothing, counseling, housing navigation, and job training. We also provide care through rent and utility assistance, food pantries, anti-trafficking services, adult rehabilitation, and youth programs. Donate today to help families in need and empower individuals towards self-sufficient life.
Hi, welcome to Pacific Financial Planners. We focus on income replacement for your retirement. We have over 3 decades of professional money management experience. We personalize a plan that's right for you and your family. You only get one shot at retirement. Don't you think you better get it right? So give us a call for your free consultation. We can do this over the phone, via Zoom, or in person.
Welcome back to This Day. It's time to take a look at this weekend's movies. First off, we have Friday's movie is Twin Sisters, and both the movies for Friday and Saturday both have subtitles at 2 p.m. This movie on Friday is being brought to you by Pacific Financial Planners. Twin sisters are raised separately after their parents die. One goes to live with rich relatives in the Netherlands, while the other stays in Germany, enduring poverty on the farm of her stoic uncle. As adults, they long to reunite, but the outbreak of World War II, as well as growing social differences between them, risks keeping the two sisters permanently divided, especially when one marries a Nazi officer. And Saturday's movie is Cinderella Man, starring Russell Crowe, and this is being brought to you by RadNet. During the Great Depression, ex-boxer Braddock works as a day laborer until his former manager offers him a one-time slot against a rising young contender. After Braddock wins a shocking upset, he goes back into the ring full-time against the wishes of his frightened wife, played by Renee Zellweger. Dubbed the Cinderella Man for his rags to riches story, Braddock sets his sights on the defending champion, the fearsome Max Bauer. 2 great movies coming your way this weekend. Let's take a look at some announcements and events happening here in the village. Come join the International Folk Dancing Club on Friday afternoons at 1:30 p.m. in Clubhouse 7. No partner is needed. You can come as a single. It's only $7 each time you come. You can pay as you go. Beginners and experienced dancers are welcome. For more information, call Miriam at 949-770-7027. The Video Club has a new 5-session class titled 4 Easy Steps to Make a 4-Minute Video About Your Life. 4 and 4. This class runs January 8th through February 5th on Mondays at 10 a.m. in the Video Lab between Clubhouse 2 and the pool. And now let's take a look at the weather. The clouds are kind of going away a little bit. It's going to be sunny today and cool with a high of 59 and a low of 42. And it will kind of stay this way the rest of the week. Sunny and clear tomorrow, mostly sunny on Friday, partly sunny Saturday, and lots of sun on Sunday. But don't let the sunny skies fool you. It is definitely chilly outside. The highest of any of the days is 64, and it drops down into the 40s at nighttime. As soon as that sun starts going down in the sky, I tell you, it definitely gets chilly out there. So you'll definitely want to dress in layers. And taking a look ahead, tomorrow on This Day, we have the GRF update with Jim Hopkins. I hope you enjoyed the show. You can catch This Day again at 12:30 and 5 p.m. or anytime on Village Television's YouTube channel. For This Day, I'm Bobby Higgins. Have a great day, everyone.